couple of things. You'll need a big piece of plain construction paper of the color of your choice. Your teacher will have that for you. You will need a copy of the head and neck to cut out, and this will be printed. This is done on multicultural paper, so you need to find one that's close to your skin color as you can get. You'll need a pencil for a few things. You'll need a glue stick, of course, and some scissors. Once you have that, what you want to do is carefully, with your scissors, cut out this. And I know lots of times you guys grab your scissors and you get running off to cut, but you need to think about a couple of things when you cut. If you don't cut carefully, this will not look like a head or shoulders when you are done, unfortunately. The best way to make sure that you're cutting well is to keep your scissors lined up on the black line as best you can. And you need to pay attention to where you're cutting at all times. And you need to look ahead with your eyeballs of where you want the scissors to be going next. Kind of like when you ride a bike, you always look ahead to where you want your bike to go so that you don't run into something. And it's sort of the same idea with the scissors. So once you've cut very carefully, and it's okay if you have a little bit of the black line showing, that's fine. This is what it should look like. So I'm then going to take my glue stick, my scraps out of the way, and if you have bottle glue, that's also fine. And I'm going to put the glue on this side because I don't want the black to be shown later. So I'm going to just put the glue on this side, go all the way around the edges, tracing it with my glue stick a couple of times like I would with a crayon if I were coloring it. And then I'm going to turn it over, and I want to leave some space at the bottom. I don't want to put the neck down here. That's going to look really odd. I want to put it up here because I am going to be drawing some clothing later on. But I also want to make sure there's plenty of room for my hair. All right, so about there, towards the center. Okay. Once you have done that, what you need to do is we need to do a little bit of drawing. You're going to need to put on the eyes, of course, the nose, and the mouth. And I'm going to do the nose first because the nose is always in the center of your face. So here's about the center of the face. And I'm going to draw what looks like an L and make the nose. Okay, it doesn't have to be any fancier than that. And then I'm going to start the eyes. And the eyes start like a rainbow. So you want to make a rainbow. And then you want to do one on the other side. And you want to try to make it about the same size. I know that's hard. And sometimes I even have to erase, like here. I didn't do enough of a curve. So I always make sure that when I draw with my pencil, I make little tiny strokes like you see me doing here so that I don't have to erase everything. If I don't like something, I only erase the part I don't like. I never erase the whole thing. Why do all that work twice? Okay, and then I come down here and then underneath I do something that looks like a smile and try to put the two together. And I try to keep them about the same size. I mean, this one needs to be a little bit bigger. Okay, close enough. And then inside that, I'm going to make an oval. So I start with one side, and the top and the bottom are hidden, kind of inside the eye, and then this side. This is the eyeball. So this is the part that gets to be colored later with the color of my eyes. And as I'm working, if I think I'm going too fast for you, you can always stop this video and you can restart it again whenever you're ready. That's the kind of nice part about doing a video. I never go too fast for you. Okay, so once you like your eyes, then you want to, of course, very lightly, you'll go over this later with a dark color, is your eyebrows. And we'll talk about what we're going to use for that later. All right. Okay. If you're a girl, you can also do some of the eyelashes. Gentlemen, you don't have to do this, of course, unless you want to. But the girls like to do eyelashes. Okay, and I'm just putting a few in here. And then they're always smaller down below. And you don't have to do so many. Okay, so there's my eyes and my nose and, of course, my mouth. And you have a couple of choices for your mouth. You can do something with lots of lips, or you can just do a simple smile. So a simple smile is just a simple smile like this. Pretty easy. Okay? And then your head should be pretty much done, except it does need a little bit of hair. All right, I'm going to come back to the hair. So now once I've got this done, and I like the way it looks, I'm going to come down here to the bottom, and I need to draw shoulders and some sort of clothing. And I'm only going to do the top part of my body. I'm not going to be drawing a whole shirt. There isn't enough room, of course. And when you do this, you want to think about your favorite shirt. What's on your favorite shirt? Is there polka dots? Does it have stripes? Is it just one solid color? And I'm just going to make it come all the way off here. And since I have a lot more room, I can then go ahead and draw what looks like the beginnings of the sleeves right here. If you don't have room for that, that's fine. Just go to where your pencil line runs off the paper. Now, I can decide what color neckline I want. Do I want a scoop neck like this? Okay. Or do I want it to be that, like that? What about a V-neck? That looks like this. And always starting close to where the neck ends on the paper. Maybe you want a V-neck like that. Okay. Or you could even do a collar. So decide what you want yours to look like. I'm going to go back and just do a simple round neck. Some people call that a crew neck. And I'm going to start right here next, very close to my neck. And if you hear that crunching in the background, that's my dog. He's down here below Bandit's down here chewing on a bone. So if you hear crunching, it's not me, it's my dog. All right, so there it is. And I think that's good. So now I have to decide what I want to do for my shirt. I think I'm going to do polka dots. I like polka dots. They're one of my favorite things to do. So I'm going to just draw some round circles, and I'm going to try to make them about the same size if I can. Some of the polka dots might be even going on the back, so I might draw a few that you can't see all the way. So it looks a little more natural. And they don't have to be perfect. I'm just doing the best as I can. And I don't want to draw them in rows if I can. I know it's kind of tempting to do that. But if you can think about not putting them in rows, it looks a little more interesting. Okay. And I'm back over here, I have the two pictures I showed you earlier to kind of keep me on track about what I want to do. Okay, so once you have all of this drawn, you're ready for the next step, which will be to put on the hair and then color in. And we have some choices when we get to coloring. So let's talk about the hair. All right, so your teacher will have different colors of yarn for you to use if you're doing this without me. And some are different. You have to be able to cut them different lengths. So I have to figure out, I have kind of short hair. It kind of stops below my ears. So I'm kind of thinking about something like this. And if you notice, I haven't glued a single thing yet because I'm trying to still figure out what I'm going to do. And I don't ever glue anything until I get an idea. And I have a part kind of down the side of my hair. So I thought these might make really good for my bangs. It's like work for my bangs, I think. Maybe a little shorter, I don't know yet. And then some more of my hair going like this. But I have to figure out how I want the ends to go because my hair is curled. Or I could even do curly cues like this if I wanted to. If I really wanted to get fancy, I could kind of make it curl like this. I'd have to play with it, something like that. All right, so let's see if I can get started. I think I'm not going to do the curl part. I think I'm going to just go for it straight. So I'm going to go here, and my hair covers my ears, so I'm going over my ears. Gentlemen, if you're doing a hair, a lot of times boys' hair does not fall below the ears, so you have to figure out where your hair is. If you're not sure about your hair or even what color it is, ask a neighbor. Always ask someone who can give you someone that you trust who can give you some really good advice. Maybe your teacher, if she's not busy. If she is busy, then don't bother her. Let her work, and you can go ahead and do this. Here, I'm going to curl my hair up just for fun. Why not? There we go. And then I'm going to add more because, of course, we all have more than one strand of hair, I hope. And I'm going to add some more here. And I'm going to make the curl go right over the top of this one. Okay. And I'm going to come over here and add some of those bangs I was thinking about earlier. Put this down here. And this one here. And more glue, of course. If you're using bottle glue, just little dots of glue is all you need. You don't need a whole lot, otherwise you're going to end up your whole picture is going to be swimming in white glue. So if you're not sure, ask 3 before your teacher, unless she's not busy and is walking around, and she can give you some ideas. All right. Okay. I think I need to come in here because I don't want my hair to be, don't want myself to look bald there. That would look weird. All right. Okay. Try and do this super fast. And if I'm going too slowly for you and you finished your hair, you can always, of course, fast forward this. So you can go on to other things. I seem to need a lot of hair here today. All right, let's see. Okay, I think I can finish by putting one more piece on this side. I think that will give me plenty here. Right there. Okay. All right. So I think the hair's looking pretty good. And now I need to think about the rest of this. So I have some choices. I thought about paint, but I think paint's going to be hard to control here. So I think what we're going to work on is we'll go for the markers. And there are baskets of markers that I have left with your teachers. So if you have time, you can go ahead and she says it's okay, you can go ahead and grab some of the markers. So my eyes, a lot of people say my eyes are green, so I'm going to pick a greenish color that I think will work. They're not bright green, so I'm going to go for this darkish green. And I'm going to be coloring in this circle part. That's the only part that gets colored green. This part does not. It would look kind of strange if you did that. So make sure if you're coloring this, you're only coloring in the part of your eye that's green, that's the color part, and that's this round part in the center. Okay, I'm going to use my markers to go around and trace around my eyes. And I'm going to use brown, but you can use black as well if you like. And your eyebrows usually match your hair, so try to find a marker that's close to the hair color you chose. And the same really, if you didn't know this, your eyelashes are also the same color as your hair. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put a few of these here. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my brown, since I'm using that, and I'm going to trace around this part of the eye. And the nose. Okay, so that makes that. Now I gotta do the mouth. And lots of choices for a mouth. I can do red or I can do pink. I think I'm going to go ahead, I'm looking down here, let's see what I have down here. I have this darkish red, I think I'll use that. There you go. Okay. All right, now comes the next part. Comes my shirt. Now I need to make sure that this color, this part down here, is part of my neck. So I need to find, I don't know how this is going to work because actually I can go get a crayon. I'll come back to that and get a crayon for that. But I'm going to color this little piece right here with crayons. I don't think the marker is going to look right because this is light blue paper and it might change the color. You have to think about that. Okay, so now comes the next part. What do we do for the shirt? For the shirt, let me clean up my mess here. What we are going to use is the tempera paint. And these are really cool because you are the only grade that is going to see these this year. Ta-da! This is 9 different colors of tempera paint, and these round circles are the actual paint. Now usually paint's wet, but these are dry, which kind of make it nice so you won't end up making a mess. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to color in the main part of this. I gotta move this a little bit so you can see better. Okay, So I want to paint around my dots and then come back and do my dots at the end. It's easier to do it that way than to try to come back and do the dots first and then this part. Things get in the way. I'm going to take my black before I get too busy here, and I'm going to trace around this. Since you have other markers, I recommend that you wait and do this part at the very end, because your markers are not waterproof and this one is. Unless your teacher has a bunch of Sharpie markers that you can use, you're going to need to wait on the black. All right, so now I have to determine my colors. I'm going to take the water out so you can see. I have lots of choices. I think I'm going to go with this lovely magenta and the yellow. I think that'll be fun. So here's how to do this. Let's review painting techniques. When you pick up a paintbrush, you hold it just like you hold a pencil. Doesn't matter which hand you use. If you use your left hand, you hold the paintbrush with your left hand, and you hold it just like you're supposed to hold a regular pencil. When you paint, you never do this. Okay, that ruins the paintbrush, this part. We call these the bristles. It ruins it, and then it can't be used, and it won't hold a nice shape anymore. So you never want to do that. You always want to go in one direction. And now we're going in a circle, so I'll have to show you how I can do that. In one direction, so that you aren't scrubbing. This is called scrubbing, and we're not scrubbing. This is not your toothbrush. We're not scrubbing things. We're painting, so it's a little different. First thing you do is take your paintbrush, you dip it into the cup which has water, and you can press against the side a little bit to take some of the water off. However, these are dry, so I'm leaving a little water on, and I'm going to put some right there in the center. And I'm going around and around until I think I got enough paint on here. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to start painting very carefully around my circles. And if you notice, I'm only going in one direction. I am not going back and forth with the paintbrush. I'm just going down the page in the same direction. When you think you need more, you dip your paintbrush again. This time you have to dip your paintbrush. Usually tempera we don't because it's already wet. And go again when you think you're running out. You should not have a big giant puddle of water in this. In the center of, we call that a cake, in the center of the paint cake. It should be just damp and slightly drying. So if you're getting too much water, you're going to need to get a paper towel and blot it up. And we want this paint to last us all year and maybe into next. So we really need to be careful with this supplies. So I'm trying really hard not to get any in my circles. I'm having some success, but not the best. So I'm doing the best I can. So that's all that you can do is your best. This is a really big paintbrush. I did not think about what I do if I were doing something tiny. So I'm making do. And I'm going around each of my circles as I paint. If you finish painting yours, or you don't need to watch mine anymore, you can go ahead and put this on pause, or you can turn me off altogether and come back when you're ready to do something different. And I'm going to just continue to paint. Okay. And always remembering, go in one direction and hold that paintbrush like I do my pencil. You could also do this with watercolors if your teacher had the watercolor sets. That also works really well. Alright, if you want to get out painted on, markers also work really great, or even crayons. So you have lots of options for what to use here. I'm going to be using crayon in this part later. So that's what makes this mixed media. So far we've used paper, we've used markers, we've used yarn, and now we're using paint to create one project. So that's what we mean when we say mixed media, using lots of different types of materials to make one item. And it's called a collage. So we're putting all these odd things together to make it into something else. So you've learned several new art terms today. You've learned what a collage is, and you've also learned what mixed media is. So that's awesome. Okay, I'm just about done. And now I'm going to clean my brush. And I'm going to make sure I take and squeeze it to get some of the water off. It's okay if the water is now pink. It's not going to hurt the yellow, as you can see. And now I'm going here and adding the water right to my yellow, because that's going to be where I get my dots. And just come back here and add my dots of color. Okay, and there it is. Okay. All right. So I'm going to turn off the camera for a second and go over and get my crayons, and then when it starts again, I'll have my crayons and I can finish the last part. Okay, I'll be back in a sec.